The carokann is one of the most popular chess openings with the black pieces. Not only is it played by the strongest grandmasters, but also by some players strongly wanting to become one. I tested it in 5 games against opponents of increasing strength. These are the strongest plans and tactics for black in the carokann. Let's go. This is the first time in my life I played a carokann. What's the idea of this opening? Well, we want to play for the center as in many chess opening, but we do it with a bit of delay because we want to play the move d5, so we push the c pawn to be able to take back. Amazing. This is the carokann exchange variation. Now, it's very important to know the difference between the carokann and the French, because the French starts always with the same idea, e6 and d5, but the difference is about this bishop. In the carokann, you first need to bring this bishop out and then push the e6 pawn. In the French is different. Now, we already brought the bishop back, so our next move are going to be knight out, e6, bishop here. But our bishop is hanging. What, do we want to trade it or do we want to keep it? Trading could be good, but in this case I will try to keep it because ideally I would like to trade my light square bishop for their light square bishop. Like this, I end up with whatever. I mean, this might be a quick game. Wait, I was very confident. And my opponent is about to disconnect, but what about bishop b5? Because this is dangerous. If I go with the knight here, they take and then I have to give away my queen. But I think I can play knight c6. And now the trick is that after knight takes, I don't take back, because if I would take back, ooh, okay. That's a very interesting trick. But I need to move my queen away. Where do I win my queen in the strongest square? Bang, attacking 1 and 2. Only move for white to try to keep playing is to take here with check, so I can't take this bishop. But after king d8, this knight is hanging, this bishop is hanging, and I still have an extra queen. So, GG's. Queen f3 versus the carokann? So their idea is to probably try the scholar mate, but I can simply push the pawn on d5 and I'm stopping the idea of bishop c4, which will be just hanging. So this queen is out without any real reason. How to develop in the carokann? I've already said it. This bishop needs to come out before you push this pawn. Very important. Now, if we play the move knight f6, what can white play? e5. Attacking our knight, we have to move it back. So I'm thinking about trading this pawn. If they take with the queen, I'm very happy to bring out the knight. Attacking the queen, they have to move the queen back, but they can take with the knight as well. So one more idea, and the more I see, the more I like it, is to play d4, attacking the knight with tempo. And once the knight is moving away, how do you take full control over the center? With the move e5. And there we go. Now we can develop our bishops in optimal squares. You see, this bishop has all the possibilities. Basically, this bishop has almost all the possibilities except that square. So the knights are going out here. Maybe we can also bring this knight to this square after pushing this pawn. What's the idea of their move? They might want to guard this square. We just develop the knight. They have to be careful. If they push this pawn, they literally lose a queen in 6 moves. Okay, knight f5. This knight has been moving 50 million time. We could just keep going with our development. One move that comes to mind is g6. Just to say to this knight, bro, again, do it again. And I like it because the knight doesn't have any forward square, needs to go backward. Now I can play bishop g7 on fianchetto. You might say, Entschuldigung, oh, this is German. So sorry, excuse me, this bishop is blocked by all the pawns. You are right, but also if the bishop comes here or there, is not as exciting. Maybe bishop b4 could have been an interesting idea, wanting to trade it off. But for now, let's... Oh! No. Bishop g4 was winning the queen. No. Okay. Now it's not winning the queen anymore because... Okay, because basically... Yeah, it's working. Because now this tactic is very dangerous. Oh. They have a way to save it. So usually this tactic doesn't work because white can take here and this queen is under attack, but also my queen is under attack. And if I take back, I lose a piece. But here I have the in-between sneaky check. Very spicy. And they have to save the king. If they push this pawn, I'm taking. If they push this pawn, I'm taking the queen. So I'm just winning the queen. And there was a defense. We will see it at the end of the game. But did you see the defense that white can play to defend this? Okay, white is moving the king up. We take the free queen with check, and then we take this bishop as well. Material. We are +6 because we have a queen, they have a minor piece. How to win this position? Well, definitely any trade is good for us, especially if we can trade this guy. But at the same time, we want to bring more pieces to the game. So I like the move c5 just because it gives a great square to the knight. Plus, I want to play the move c4. I want to open up files. I want to get, I want to get my queen close to their king. Bring pieces to the attack. Also, the rooks. Imagine, knight c6 and then rook on the c file. You play c4, get this knight somewhere and try to bring even more pieces to the attack. Okay, they're moving the king, very good. I'm moving the knight out. A great suggestion is play with all your pieces in every situation. And my rooks are not playing, my queen is still not playing. I will try to play really for the move c4, so I'm opening some files, because right now all the files are closed. So even if I bring my rooks, they're kind of blocked, kind of stuck. So I will play the move c4, wanting to create some open files for my rooks, which are probably gonna be the b and the c file. I don't like what white is playing because they're still delaying the development. This knight, can somebody count how many times that knight has been moving in this entire game? Because that's not what should happen. Okay, I could play for the move c4, but I will start to bring the rooks to these files, because basically if I would push c4, the pawn would be hanging. And now I'm gonna do it with tempo, because the moment I push c4, I'm going to attack the knight one more time. So keep up with the counter, huh? The knight is about to move again. c3, that's a very good idea. I just open up the position, now the d file is open, and I still want to play the move c4 at some point, but the pawn would be hanging. So for now, I'm trying to trade a knight that has been moving 1, 2 times for a knight that has been moving many times. Okay, so basically in this moment, white lost the number of times that the knight has been moving, -2, which is the time that my knight has been moving. So they lost so much time. Now I play the move b4. Of course, this pawn can't be taken because the rook behind is hanging. My whole idea, I want to open the files so that my queen and my rooks are shaking the hand to the king, and we move to the next game. Let's see. We take here with check. We bring the king to the b file, looking to b2. We trade off the rook, because once they take back, we have free cheese macaroni waiting for us. And we are threatening check. And, oh, not this mate, because there is a knight, but check, and then probably pushing this pawn. Oops. That is a bit a pity, because this walks into a self-checkmate. The king has to move. And boom. GG's. Very quick analysis. Here I could have played the move bishop g4, trapping the queen officially. We saw that. But after bishop g5, bishop g4, what is the defense? The only defense is queen takes bishop. Because after knight takes, they are taking the queen. And the intermezzo here, the in-between move, doesn't work, because bishop d2 is defending the check, attacking my queen. I have to take, king takes, I take here. Material is equal, the king is weak, this pawn is under attack. Black is better because has better development, better center, more space. but the position is still f5. This time, bishop c4. I don't know why, but at any level, people like to start with e4, bishop c4, queen f3, just to set up a scholar's mate. I mean, who is falling for a scholar? I mean, is this even working at 1000 elo? I don't think so. Now, this bishop already has been moving many times. We have learned this for now. Before pushing e6, we want to bring this bishop out. It's the whole idea of the carokann, to make all your pieces smile, all your pieces active. And there we go, bishop g4, with the idea of knight c6. What else is the carokann doing? What else is a plan? Is that we are trading a side pawn for a central pawn, which is the idea of many other openings, like the... Wait a minute. I'm thinking where to go with the knight. If you can go forward is good, but you need to make sure that you can come back. Here I can come back easily, even if the move d3 is played, so we can go for it. Okay, so other openings like the Sicilian, like the French, like I will go here, so I'm looking at the bishop. Sicilian, French, pretty much those two are mainly against 1 e4. And the carokann, of course. So now, my opponent has been moving a little bit too many pawns here on the king side, meaning that they cannot go for short castle. One move that comes to mind is definitely knight c6, e6. This pawn is attacked twice. So I could either trade this bishop, or I could simply push e6. I'm gonna go for e6 because I don't want to say immediately that I might be trading that bishop. That the bishop is not also the most active piece on earth, and they have many weaknesses. Starting from this pawn. Now this knight wants clearly to go take it. I will just keep developing my pieces. And after knight takes, always take towards the center. Also, I'm opening up the H file, so now there is a new weakness. This pawn is literally hanging, so maybe they are going to push it. Queen f3 is a mistake, not only because blunders a pawn, but also because the queen there is in bad shape. The queen should join the action as the last piece, and there is a clear reason. Once my knight is going to go on c6, I can move on with the move knight d4, attacking the queen and attacking c2 at the same time. You might say, Alessia, c2 is protected by the bishop, but once the queen moves, I can first take the bishop with the other knight and then give a fork. So white is starting to be in danger. Interesting, they are attacking my knight. I'm now going on for my plan, and after pawn takes, probably the a pawn, opening up this rook, I play knight c6, threatening another pawn. This move, moving the same piece twice, is a mistake, combined with the fact that the king is still in the middle of the board. So now tactics are already working. I'm trading off the bishop, making sure basically that the king is not gonna be safe anywhere. Not on the queen side, because it will no longer be possible to castle. On the king side, well, I don't have to explain why the king is not safe, has no protection. On the center is also exposed. And tactics. After rook takes, I have queen check, attacking the knight and attacking the king. The knight has to go back, only way to save the piece, and then d4 is hanging. I'm attacking the queen and threatening also potentially even this move. Because after rook takes, I might have queen check. At the moment doesn't seem to work because there is knight d1 at the end of all the combination protecting the check. But it's some idea that is on the air. For now, I have an extra pawn and I'm about to win another one. Or a piece, which is also good. What about my king? My king is safe on the king side, on the center, on the queen side, which is pretty good. Probably I might avoid the queen side, because it's very simple to try to open up a file, plus f7 would be hanging. So probably short castle is very good. I just need to be careful to this type of move, but I don't even have to commit too early. I can improve my position, collect all the free cheese macaroni that there are. For example, b3 is hanging, b2 could be hanging. Also, very important plan in the carokann. If you want to become a carokann or you're a carokann player, you need to keep an eye on the queen side. It's usually, due to your pawn structure, is usually the direction where you should go for the attack. And now it's a very good moment to go for short castle because I can't take if my rook behind is not protected. Now we go. Ways to attack on the queen side. Knight a5, knight c4 is a very good maneuver that you want to keep in mind. Bringing this rook on the c file, another great maneuver. Also, now we have a very interesting case where the a file is open, so definitely bring your rook on the open file, which is already there. And if we have a pawn on b4, which can happen in the carokann, if you're pushing your pawns, you might end up trading your two pawns, a and b, for their a and b pawns, meaning that they are left with the weak c3 pawns, which is called backward pawn, because it is behind the pieces of your opponent. Let me take here with check. Maybe we have a way to win very quickly some juicy material. Because if the queen takes, the rook is hanging, since it's no longer protected by the queen. So the c3 pawn is generally also a weakness. Now, I can give a check, the king goes there, and then knight b4. If the pawn is taking, the rook is sliding here to give checkmate. Nice. And if the king would have been moving, I can take this pawn, trade the queens, and win the rook. Next game. All right, we have the carokann against an higher rated opponent. They play knight f3. They don't go with the pawn in the center, but we anyway go for the center. And now let's see what they do. Do they trade? Do they push? Do they move another knight out? What are they doing? They're trading. Okay, so this is gonna be something similar to first game. It is probably an exchange variation of the carokann. The bishop is giving a check. So now I could cover either with the bishop or with the knight. If we go with the knight, they might be tempted to attack us this way. So I will play bishop here, wanting to trade my potentially bad bishop. And now I have a question. Do I take with the knight or do I take with the queen? There are some lines where black is taking with the queen just because they want to go in the best square with the knight. Because you see here, the knight is a little bit dominated, but it's all right. I will just go for very quick development. Knight out, bishop on d6, and then short castle. And we get to see the most important plan of the carokann, which is attack on the queen side. One move, very important to remember, is rook c8. We are already looking at the c2 pawn, and then there are different type of moves depending on what white is playing. For example, a mistake for white would be to play the move knight c3, because knight c3, yeah, wow, c3 is the best move in this position. Amazing. This opus is prepared. We go out with the knight and we are going to simply castle. There we go. Bishop g5 is attacking this knight, but this knight is protected, so we can definitely move the queen away from the pin without any worries. Queen b6 is starting to look interesting because we're attacking this pawn, but the queen is also in the way of our pawns. Because the strongest plans in this type of positions, and we will go for that, is the minority attack. What is the minority attack? We are attacking with 2 pawns, 3 pawns. And our main idea is to manage to play the breakthrough b4. If we get to play this move, and now we are just doing that, the whole idea is that after the pawn is taking, we are able to take back with this bishop. And this pawn is gonna be isolated, not surrounded by any other pawns, so very vulnerable. And also b2 is gonna be on a semi-open file, so also potentially weak. So it just gives us, with the black pieces, lots of attacking chances just from a very early stage. We are at move 11. And if they don't take, well, we are gonna take here. Very happy to take. And now there is another weakness, which is this pawn. This is called backward pawn. This pawn is not isolated, but cannot be protected anyway by other pawns. And when this happens, this pawn will be harassed by all my pieces. I will come here with the queen, I can come here with the knight, I can attack this pawn so many times. I can also go jump with this knight forward, attacking the bishop and attacking the pawn. That's an amazing scenario for me. On the other side, white plans should be to attack me on the king side, but up to now, they were a little bit too slow. Still, they didn't really start anything. At least there is no danger. And the main problem for them is that they traded their strongest piece. Bishop b5 was a huge mistake, because if we go in this position, imagine having a bishop on d3. That would be their strongest piece. That's why this is not what you should play with white. Okay, queen d3. Let's try to exploit everything. They're looking at this point, which is right now protected by the knight, and they would love to have a bishop on c2, right? Battery looking here, and then they want to trade this. This is how an attack could be potentially strong for white, but it's not the case in this game. Also now I'm threatening knight e4. This knight is gonna be a monster there. Unstoppable. Attacking this pawn, blocking any sort of attack. Let's see how they defend this guy with the rook. With this rook, because if they would have done with this other rook, this guy would have been hanging. But now I go with the knight and I'm attacking this one more time. And the only way that I see to defend is bishop here. But that's a pretty sad move. Very passive. And maybe I can even keep going with bishop here attacking the rook, or trying to bring this other knight, or try to double the rooks on the c-file. Knight g3, they are not protecting the pawn, but they are attacking one of the attackers. So we need to be a little bit careful. Also, I think their idea is that after knight takes c3, they want to pin our knight. I think that should also be fine, but it looks a little bit dangerous, because after bishop here, that could be the move a3. So they are sneaky, but I can take with the rook. And the point is that if they take, I take with the queen, and if they take, we trade everything and I just won a pawn, right? It's very important to check is that they never have an in-between move. Because if they could play knight takes and the queen would be protected, that would be very bad for me. So that is very important calculation to do before you take the free cheese macaroni on c3. Amazing. Now we have an extra pawn. How to convert this? It's not easy at all. Really not easy, because our extra pawn is here. How are we going to promote that pawn? Good luck with that. But our biggest advantage is piece activity. All our pieces are in very good squares. Look at this knight. That guy is a monster, because he's attacking this pawn, but actually the most important thing is that this rook is stuck there, protecting it. So I'm expecting maybe starting to push this pawn, but actually even if they push, the pawn is still under attack. And if they push one step, the pawn is still under attack. What I need to do now with the black pieces is to be very quick and to bring even my rook to the game. Maybe to prevent the back rank checkmate by playing the move h6, attacking the bishop, winning a tempo. Try to win more material, because with just one extra pawn, this is not enough. Let's see. This is an extremely good defense, because now they are leaving this pawn hanging, but the moment I take, then the rook comes back here, attacking the knight and attacking the pawn behind. What about defending this knight? Well, I could do it with the rook, but my knight would be pinned. The rook on c8 is unprotected, so that's a big red flag. So what to do? A move that comes to mind is this fork, but I need to eliminate this knight. Now, if I take here and they take back my bishop, I'm basically winning. But I think what they have in mind is after bishop takes to take here. And then I need to move back my bishop. That's one option for sure. Also, another option is to just move this knight, for example, here. And I think that's what I'll do, because this bishop on d6, like their light square bishop before, is my strongest piece. I don't want to trade that bishop. And remember that if you're a carokann player. That bishop is very important, because once this bishop is gone, all the dark squares, it's very easy for them to jump a knight here, to jump potentially a knight there. So it could become very, very dangerous. Now, I will go with the knight there, and my plan is to place a knight on a light square. Imagine a bishop on d3. This would never be possible. So remember this, very important, bishop and a bishop. Those are very strong pieces. If you're with black, you want to try to trade the light square bishop as much when possible and avoid trading this one. H3, they're just creating a space for the king. Now, taking here would create a very bad pawn structure for them, but still, I will just move the knight here and I'm setting up a huge threat. And this, the silent, sneaky move h6. The bishop is running out of squares. Because if the bishop goes there, I'm trapping it. If the bishop goes here, I take it. If the bishop goes here, this pawn is overloaded, defending 1 and 2, so I can just snap one or the other piece. And this, I think, is the worst move to play in this position, because after h6, the only square remaining was this one, because the bishop was protected by the knight. But now, not even that square is available, and so we are going to snap this bishop, and then this poor knight is hanging, which is not too good. GG's. Final game, we have the carokann against a player almost 1600 elo, and they are going for the advanced variation. Very important, keep the basic ideas. And the basic idea is to first develop this bishop before playing the move e6. That's also the main move, the most played move for black. What is the difference between the French and the carokann? Because they both have the same structure. And the main difference is that we are going to play the move c5, but in two tempi, because we have been moving this pawn first on c6 and then on c5. So is the French better? Not really, because we did that in order to bring the bishop out. It's more a matter of taste, both openings are playable. Now h3, what is their idea? Maybe they want to play the move g4, doesn't really impress me, so I'm going to play the move c5, attacking the center directly. Also the move c5 gives space for the knight to go on the most natural square, which is the square on c6. Now I could trade or I could go back. I will play actually knight e7, meaning that if they take, I want to take back with my knight, and with the knight I'm also attacking the square, which is very good. I can further attack this point by playing the move knight c6 and queen b6. It's a very important move, especially now because I'm attacking 1 and 2. Okay, I think this was an epic carokann. This is a dream come true. This is exactly what you want to achieve as a carokann player. You're attacking now 1 point and 2 points. The whole idea, we counterattack on the center by focusing on the queen side. And it's also a general strategical concept in chess. When there are block pawn in the center, the pawn structure is showing you the direction. You see this? We go on the queen side because we have more space on the queen side. Now, free cheese macaroni, we're gonna take them. d4 is free, followed by knight takes. Do they have any in-between move? Yes, maybe they can try to play the move g4. Actually not, they are just castling. Now, we have an important moment because we could be tempted to take here. But every time there is an equal trade, remember, it's never really equal. Because by taking, I'm letting them develop this pawn, this knight for free. If I don't have a way to avoid that, meaning that my pawn, I might either lose that pawn or I trade it, of course I trade it. But if I can let them trade, very happy to do so. A useful move could be to develop this bishop. Where can I go? I could go here, but then I need to be ready to face the move b4. Or I could play the move bishop e7, but I need to be ready to face the move bishop takes. And I'm very much ready to that, because after bishop takes, I can take with this knight, and I want this knight, because if I would have traded the other one, there would have been even the move g4. I have to move this knight, and then I lose the pawn. Instead here, I'm able to just take back. If queen check, I go back with the knight, or I can go forward with the other one. So I managed to keep my extra pawn, but I have kept improving my pieces. Now my king is just one step away from castling. And where are my rooks going? Okay, very important to take a decision. Should I go forward or backward? Usually I like to go forward, but you need to make sure that you can do it with safety. After knight here, what are their moves? They can take, and then I take back with the queen, offering even the trades of queen. That's amazing, even this pawn is under attack. Do they have any other move? If they take with the queen, is pretty much the same. If they attack with the rook, I can take here. Perfect, that's safe. So we can go for this activity. We bring another knight forward, ready to castle. Now we take back with the queen, only piece, because the knight is pinned. And we're not only threatening the trade of queens, we're also looking at this pawn and this pawn. And between the... Sorry, let's not do any pre-moves. Between e5 and b2, which pawn would you take first? Definitely the pawn on e5. Because the pawn on b2 can backfire. Imagine a rook coming on b1. You have to move the queen and then this pawn is hanging. Instead, this little pawn on e5 cannot backfire. Okay, now what are they doing? They are threatening this pawn, meaning that if we take here, they are taking there. But I'm okay with that for the same reason no, I thought I could take here with the knight. Okay, I will castle and I'm fine with them taking there because after they take, I take here. And I'm then ready to go with the rook here, attacking this pawn as well. I don't think there is a way to save that pawn. Also, the queen could get trapped. Okay, we attack the queen. Also, with the other rook could have been possible. Now we take. And this knight is also unprotected. But there is one final thing that we really need to watch out, and is our back rank. So if we can play a prophylactical move, h6 is good. If we don't have time for that, we need to make sure that there is no tactic where we are basically getting mated. Okay, they are protecting the knight by attacking the rook, but this might be a blunder because knight c4 is coming in our favor, attacking the queen, protecting the rook. And where is the queen moving in order to keep this knight protected? There is no square because a5 is hanging, so the queen has to move. Also, the queen is almost trapped. So the queen can go here, there, and here. Okay, they are going for the counterattack, but I could already take here and then take the queen, and I win a rook. But every time you see a tactic, look for better, because here we take, and we're giving checkmate at the next move. GG's. If you enjoyed this video, you will love this one on how to play with the black pieces against 1d4. Check it out. Ciao!